of the sports journalism. Now it was first year of college in 2003. Mobile phones were just getting into the market, or rather into the youngsters' hands. I also managed to get a mobile phone from one of my cousins, and obviously the call rates were like really high. So when it was fashionable, you had hardly 5% of people in college having a mobile. So obviously I also wanted one. Took the connection, did not have money to pay the bill. It got cut. That was the time when I just finished my first year of engineering and I was sitting at home. And one of my friends, friends actually got an offer from Apple. They had actually asked them to do a part-time job. So since he did not have any of his friends in campus, he actually called me for that. So I was up for it. It was 250 rupees per day. Basically tying banners, posters everywhere across Cochin. Apple had launched, I think, probably a year or two back. So that's how I started my journey into this field, and I worked for about 10 to 15 days, managed to pay off my bill, got my mobile to me as well. And then, at that point of time, one of the sales managers actually contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in getting the retailer SIM or the dealer SIM, which is now commonly used across all shops to recharge your mobile. So I said yes, obviously, because there was a lot of offers at that time, free SMS, etc. And I would be definitely interested. So then he asked me, okay, then what you do is you sell, I think there was a SIM called MTV SIM back in the days. So sell about a few SIMs in college. And if that's the case, he'll give me a SIM. So that day, same day, the lunch break, I managed to sell about 15 SIMs in just that 1 hour. And I got the SIM, the reader SIM. So that's how my journey started. I quickly putting it together. Started distributing Apple SIMs across colleges, not only in Cochin but across Kerala. I had friends that I did not even see in Malappuram and Edapar and Kasaragod, etc. Even the other direction to Alappi and Trivandrum. It was all based on trust, basically selling all these SIMs. And that's how I started off with Apple before joining Workspace. Has anybody heard of Workspace? A.R. Rahman used to be the brand ambassador. Now they have closed shop, they have gone back. So I got an offer to work for Workspace, I think it was about 2005. So because of how the MG University works, usually we have about 2 months of free time after all the classes are done, because the exams are mostly late. So I had about 2 months of free time when Workspace, I got the offer to join Workspace. And I worked in Workspace for about 6 months, and that was quite an experience in itself, because the basics of telecalling, just cold calling. Once you enter, I think I was seeing your brochures. I think I can see some people who already have experience. So the basics of cold calling, calling somebody, telling them, okay, introducing yourself, and then trying to sell something over the phone is a tremendous challenge. So I think the basics of that is what I got from Workspace. Then I also worked with ICICI for some time as a part-time before I graduated in 2007. Another question, how many people heard about entrepreneurship or starting a company when they were in college? Anybody? Okay, again, 2 hands. I think as Arun said, I didn't even know the spelling of entrepreneurship. I think I still don't know, but I didn't have any clue about entrepreneurship when we were in college. The kind of the help and the environment that you have, and the job that Arun does in setting up an incubation cell is tremendous, because trust me, once you start off, you don't have an idea what a business plan is. You don't have an idea what a financial projection, any of these things. And these are things which, as I said, mostly people ask when you start a company. So anyways, I got an offer in about 3 companies. I got into USD, HCL, and also ISOC, one more company. So anyways, I joined HCL mainly because I wanted to, when I spoke to HCL, they told me that, informed me that I can move on to their business wing in some time. So I joined HCL initially as a software engineer. Probably not my forte. I quickly moved into pre-sales. And it was during that time, I was about 21, 22 at that point, when I always wanted to start off. I think my experiences in the past, for the past 3 to 4 years with Apple and others, I always wanted to start up something of my own. that's when I met my partners in my first company, Arun, and like-minded people who wanted to start up and on. And we thought, okay, let's start a company. And we met for the first time on Jan 26th, and about 4 days later, on Feb 1st, we started the company. Now, we started the company. That's great, but what do we do? That is the first question. So we were all sitting around the table thinking what to do when we hit upon this idea about the product called Spark. So not getting too much deep into the product, but basically it was a power saving product which used to help reduce the power consumption in computers and other peripherals when they are not in use. Then came the next step, incubation or moving into a bigger facility. We started off in the first floor of a house in Kahawa, which is a place in Cochin. And that's when we heard about, at that point in time, I think InfoPark did not have any incubation, or I did not also have an incubation facility at that time. So then we went all the way to Trivandrum, Technopark, and as usual, business plan, financial projections, and all those terminologies hit us. We do not have a clue how to go over it. So we asked them, can you send us a sample? So they sent us a sample, and we basically rewrote the whole thing, including the financial projection with the help of one of my friends who was into the financial field. And we had a presentation with the panel, and luckily we got through, and we were incubated in Technopark. I think from that journey, making it quick, I think since we don't have too much of time, that journey, the next stage was when last year, when I always wanted to start off something related to sports. I'm a huge sports fan, cricket, football, most of them. So also food as well. And that's when I got an opportunity. I spoke to some of my friends who were there with me from school days. And I started off, we started off initially as a coffee shop in Cochin. This is an MG Road opposite Cochin Shipyard. So we started off as a coffee shop, which was, where we have a mezzanine flooring where we air all the sports events. So basically, it was a mix of sports bar with the restaurant setting minus the alcohol. And that was something which was again another dream come true for me. Starting off something of that of my own in Cochin. And that has been in operation for about 15 months. And I think the next stage was, we had a spin-off. We are now emvigo technologies. We are into renewable space, solar. That's an area where we work on. We work on ERP solutions, application development. So these are some of the areas that we work on. I think looking back, I think the most important thing is a lot of people want to start off on their own. Some of them don't know how to, or some of them have the feeling whether they should. I think something which I always tell people when they ask me is, if you feel you want to start, I think as Nike says, just do it. Because if you don't do it right now, I know a lot of people who wants to, including my ex-boss in HCL, who says, okay, probably I'll work for 4 years, I'll make some money, and then I'll start. It will never happen. Because 4 years time, you might get married, you will have a lot more responsibility to shoulder, and it will be really difficult to, 4 years if you get a salary every day of the month, or every month of the year, it will be really, really tough to actually let that go and then start off. So this is the right stage. If you guys want to start off right now, the support facilities that are on offer in your campus and otherwise is amazing. So if you have an idea, make sure that you contact your placement officer or even Arun or any of us, and validate the idea. See if it makes sense. See if there are customers or potential customers for that, and then just start off. Because if you don't do it now, you will never do it. Anybody over here who has an idea or who wants to start off on their own? Anybody? Great. When I was in college, I didn't have anybody asking this question. I did not have any entrepreneurship development club or somebody, an eminent personality come in and speak to me. I can see 3 hands. Hopefully, by the end of the panel discussions, I can at least see 10. Because obviously, we don't expect everybody else to start. But if we can have 1% or 5% of the people sitting over here to start, I think that itself is a big opportunity. And I think over here you have very eminent personalities. We have Arun, whom you can definitely speak to on top of starting up. We also have Kenny in terms of any technical clarifications that is also possible. So I think I'm just cutting short my talk. Hopefully, if you have any questions, we can definitely asked me to do anything. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to formally invite Founder and CEO Ayurz Holding, Mr. Kenny Jacob, to AMU enMEET' 2012 to share. I request you, sir, to share your startup story. So please join us.
Good afternoon to you all. And when Sanjay asked the question, how many of you want to start off after this course, I saw only 3 or 4 hands, and I was quite surprised because this is one of the places in Kerala which is very entrepreneurial in nature. And I assume, how many students are from this district system? And still only 3 or 4 people wanting to start on their own is a it's a disappointment, because Northern Kerala is one of the areas from which you can see entrepreneurs all over the world. And I'll share a personal experience I had some time back. There is a relative of mine here, and I was staying with him for a couple of days. So it was summer holidays, and a small boy, which is a neighbor of his, he came to him and asked for a little bit of money. And my cousin asked him, why do you need money? It's just one day, you go and play. He said, no, I have a small arrangement, I'll give you by evening. So my cousin gave him something like 20 or 25 rupees. It was quite some time back. And by evening, the kid returned the money. So I asked him, what did you do with the money? Why did you need the money? So he said, I went and bought some peanuts, went home, roasted it, and sold it at the beach. And that's how people in this place are. They start really early. And I think you guys are not thinking about entrepreneurship right now, because I hate to say it, because maybe you are too educated for it. And to share my story, again, like Sanjay also said, I didn't know much about business. I am not from a business family. And but one advantage I had, that was I was quite good at technical things. I used to program. I was a developer at a very young age. I somehow managed to get a computer at home at a very young age. So by the time I joined the college, I was pretty good at doing things. And those days, internet also was not very popular. Yes, there was internet connections, but again there was no broadband. It was all slow dial-up connection. So I had this huge collection of e-books, mainly PDF files of various technical things. So I had one CD full of these books, and I found an opportunity that I could sell these. So I went to a few forums and posted saying that I have so many e-books available, and if you want these CDs, I can send it to you by DPP. You all know what an DPP is, right? Value payable by post. It's one of the payment mechanisms which these publishers use. When somebody orders a book, you send them the book and they pay only when they receive the book. And it's all done by post office. It's a very good service. And it's the most important thing is that you can send it to anywhere in India, because you have post offices everywhere. And this CD was very popular. I used to get a lot of audits, and those days college also was not very interesting. So I never used to go to college, and attendance also was not a big issue, because you could always do a proxy attendance. So, the atmosphere of the college was very conducive towards this, so it was okay. So I started selling these CDs, and was making enough money to enjoy in college. So even then also I didn't realize that it was a business or I was doing something cool. I did it just for the money, that's all. And then what happened was that there was a small computer institute next to our college, and the person who was managing it, he got a good job in Bombay, so he decided to close the institute down. So and he was a good friend of mine, and I used to teach there once in a while. So I asked him if I could run it for some time and see if I can manage it. And he was also okay with it because anyways it was his own property, and it was not in much demand. So he allowed me, and me and a few friends of mine took it up, and we used to help our junior students with their labs, classes, and final year and mini projects. And I ran it for almost 1 year until I left college. And that was also, at that time also I never had any I never realized that I was doing a business. It was just something which I knew I did, that's all. And all of us, all the three of us have got something in common. We all by the time we were in college, this mobile market was starting to grow, and even students in college was getting mobile phones. So Sanjay, with the marketing bent, he went into marketing of mobile phone connections, and I was more technical in nature. So we used to work on applications which you can run on your PC, and then you can connect your phone, and then you can make calls from your phone using your computer. You can send SMS from your phone using your computer. So we developed a small application which would actually, let's say you have a list of numbers. Let's say you have all your classmates' numbers listed there, and you can send an SMS to all of them using that program itself. And those days, the most popular phone was Nokia 3310. Ever seen that phone, 3310? Even when I see that phone, I get nostalgic. Yeah. Maybe that's the first one of many of our peers. So, in those phones, if you want to send SMS to 60 people, you had to go and select all those 60 people, and sending 60 messages to 60 people took almost 60 minutes. But with this application, we could actually send out SMS to all of my classmates, and we used it mainly for sharing funny SMSs. In those days, there were quite a lot of plans available in which you could send a lot of SMS for free. So that was one of the applications we did in college for fun. But when I graduated and when we started a company with a few friends of mine, there was a big opportunity in that because businesses wanted to do SMS promotions, and they were also doing it with the old-fashioned way. And this application was quite useful to them. So we developed a desktop version as an application which runs on your PC, and then you have to connect a modem to it and then send SMS. And then that didn't do well because marketing became a difficulty because you have to go to your customer and then install the application on his PC, teach him how to do it, and he might send 1,000 SMSs a month, and 1,000 SMSs mostly free. Financially, it was not doing well. And then the overall technology improved, and we developed a web application. You could open your browser and you could log into our application, and you don't need a modem or a hardware. And the payment model was via credit card. You could purchase, let's say, 10,000 SMSs or 1 lakh SMSs, and you could set up your own various lists there and then send. And that was very successful. So that's how we started. So I guess the technological advancement during that time also helped us. Maybe if I was born 5 years earlier or 5 years later, maybe I would not have become an entrepreneur because I'm not sure, but I'm saying the circumstances was right. And then again also after that, the internet became a mainstream thing, and then almost everyone had an internet connection at home. Blogging became mainstream, Facebook started. So there was a lot of activity happening on the internet space when it comes to marketing and promotion. And back in 2007, we organized a small event for bloggers, and it was sponsored by the Kerala Tourism Department. The event happened on a houseboat. Quite a lot of bloggers from all over the country flew down to Kerala, spent one day in the houseboat writing about Kerala, discussing various things about blogging and stuff. And it got Kerala Tourism a lot of publicity. As the first government department to host a blog camp, and also the first blog camp to happen on a houseboat. It's almost like a cruising blog camp. So after that, I thought since the tourism department was quite supportive with this initiative, I thought I'll teach online marketing. So since then, the only online presence Kerala Tourism had was a website. So we suggested quite a few additions. We suggested a Twitter account, interacting with your potential customers on Twitter. We suggested starting a blog, suggested starting a Facebook account, a YouTube account, and quite a lot of things. And the tourism secretary and directors were also very supportive. I would say, so they agreed. And after they agreed, I started a new company just for internet marketing. And right now we are servicing clients from various countries. It has become almost similar to IT outsourcing itself. A client in some other country wants online promotion, and we develop the strategy, the content, and the application for them. So that is a very short story of my journey, and I think I should end here because I'm not feeling very well. Yesterday was a very busy day. I had a couple of meetings, a session like this, and a couple of parties also. Quite tired, and this hour also was not very helpful. And I could do this because I got that was really helpful. So I think we can move to the Q&A session, right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My question is from Sanjay Menon, sir. That you have told that those who wanted to start business after 4 or 5 years, in fact after earning some money. So for being a Muslim, in Muslim case there is a simple logic that interest is basically restricted there. Okay, sir. So if they want to start they want to have entrepreneurship or set up their own business, in that case how do they manage finance? Because if a person having very poor background economically, then in that case, how do he manage? How does he manages to compile the finance?
If I understand your question, what you meant to say is if you want to start off and you don't have a finance, how do you manage? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I think this is a question which is applicable not only for one particular caste or community or religion, for everybody else. I think all of us, when we started off, we had the same issue. That is, how do we get the first initial funding? Is it a loan? Is it an angel investment? I think that is where, as I said, currently, before that, I think let me just rephrase what he said. I think I must have said about it's impossible to start. But I think I would say it's very difficult to start. Rather, once you work for 4 or 5 years, probably I should have said that way. It's very difficult to start once you work somewhere for like 5 or 6 years and then plan to start. Regarding your question, there are a lot of options available. If you have a solid idea with you, places like the Innovation Lab, Technopark, DBI, and with the Government of India support, you have something known as STEP, which is an Entrepreneur Promotion Fund, which is basically funds you for your idea. So there are different options for you. Of course, friends and family is one option for you to start off and have startup. I think that's very important. And secondly, I think that hunger for success. To be very frank with you, it's being an entrepreneur is difficult. It's a very glamorous job. People will think that you have a lot of free time, you can manage whatever you want. But I think at the end of the day, if you don't persevere, it's very difficult for you to go on, because all of us have been in this business for about 5, 6, that in Arun's case 9 years, and success does not come very easy to you. There are times when you feel that this struggle is not worth anything. You just go back to a regular job. But I think at that stage, doing what you love, I think that will help you stick on to what you're doing. I think, yeah. So in terms of answering your question directly, there are a lot of mediums where you can raise your first investment and then start off. And I think, Kenny would like to.
I hope you were listening when I was speaking. If a 10-year-old boy can find an investment from his neighbor, with your skills you can definitely find an investment for whatever business you are planning to start, because even Arun is planning an NRI TBA. And the concept is that NRIs mostly invest in land or flats, mostly. And if that scenario is not changed, then we will be in trouble soon. So you can always go to someone who has got a lot of funds. There are various investment opportunities. I think people who invest as in angel investors, venture capitalists. Even if you are very confident about your business, you can get a loan. There are various schemes by the government itself. Yesterday we were discussing a scheme called Credit Guarantee Trust Scheme for small and micro entrepreneurs. In short, it's called CGTMSE. You can Google it up. They give you up to 1 crore loan without collateral. It's not easy, but if you have a good plan and if you can convince the bank manager that your plan is worth taking a risk, then you will get the funds.
There's a fund scheme available in Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, DSIR. It's called Technopark Promotion Program. If your idea is a technology-based one, DSIR will give you up to 45 lakhs to make your idea into a prototype stage. There are n number of such schemes are available. The only thing is that your eyes and ears should be open to that.
Good evening, sir. My question is into a business, and living it is not a difficult task. What is most difficult is sustaining. So what do you suggest regarding this? Means how we can sustain in such scenario where the world is open for the foreign investors, and so big players always try to dominate the small player. So what is very important is the sustainability. So what do you suggest regarding this?
actually depends on many factors. Say, I started, doesn't have any, say, direct connection to success. So I started my first venture as a publication, but it was just a breakthrough for me. But in fact, I completely stopped publishing. Stopped publishing Techno first. So then I ventured into another thing. So over a period, you will come across something which will give you a picture. So apart from that, I believe when you are into the ecosystem, so the entrepreneurs are well connected. You can't expect from where this breakthrough happens. So one of the companies which I've incubated, the name is called Mindfulness. They come out with an application called Tuk Vehicle, which basically tells you what is the auto fare calculation. When you get into an auto, you can just start that application with the stock vehicle tells you how much money, what is the fare. It's basically a medium to negotiate with the auto wala. That's it. Ultimately, it won't give you any money out of it. Maximum what you can do is the revenue comes, you can put some advertisement. And this story is carried in business line and economic and front page. And one of the quarter page story carried in. But it's where money comes in. But that venture is only to create that buzz in the media. But you have to create something else to generate money out of it. So they have with this buzz, many companies associated with them. They have partnered with Microsoft for implementing automotive navigation system in Pune and Delhi. So the money comes from something different, not from that particular idea you jump in with you jump into entrepreneurship. It will come for the money. And one more advice: never chase the money. Money will come to you.
Hello. My question is to Mr. Sanjay Menon, sir. Sir, you are running a cafe, Kahawa cafe. Sir, we see in Kerala there are too many cafes. So I want to know what makes your Kahawa cafe different from others.
Yeah, definitely there are a lot of coffee shops, cafes in Cochin. Well, I think for starters, we are the only cafe who regularly screen matches or sports events. I'm talking about across cricket, football, whatever it is. I think that clearly differentiated us from all our competitors, because we have a very regular clientele who come in to watch these games live. And of course, the atmosphere is, it's all about the atmosphere. There are people who like watching it alone, there are people who like going to the stadium and watch. Now, you can't probably go to England watching one of the English teams play football. So the next best thing is come to our shop, have the mezzanine floor where you have about 60-70 people, having the same spirit and the passion. Secondly, we as a group, myself and my friends, and I started off with my friends who I shared a desk or rather a bench when I was in LKG. So the friends that I started off, I made when I was 4 years old. So we used to hang out at a lot of these similar shops across Cochin, and very regularly, weekends and weekdays. So something that struck us was a lot of them are really congested. Probably if you have the space, you try to fit in as many tables as possible. So the second factor that we thought was, we should make it more spacious. We have about 1,800 square feet is the size of a cafe, and we have place the tables as that there is a lot of space between tables. You don't feel congested in it. Now you can have the space, you can show the matches upstairs, but people will only come in if you can serve good food and drinks, which is worth the value. And that's when again we differentiated. We are serving, not you usually associate cafes, you might think that we are serving say puffs or cutlets and that sort, but no. But what we do is we are serving continental food, Italian and continental. Excuse me. And we are also one of the cafes in Cochin. We actually serve filter coffee. Now, when we started off, I think if I'm right, not too many cafes used to serve filter coffee, which is a big hit in the cafe. And so I think there are different reasons for people to come in. So I think some of the main reasons that we associated, one was good food, making sure that the quality of food never comes down. and myself, my partners, and we have one of our partners, father also involved in it very closely. And they are actually from a background which is very closely associated with food. They have a genuine passion for food, which is very important because at the end of the day, customers will keep coming in once you serve them good food. So these are some of the factors which differentiate us, and I believe in a very short time. Anybody from Cochin, by the way? I'm not from Cochin. Yeah, only one. Okay, so I'm not sure if you've heard of the other cafes, but probably some of the big cafes in Cochin are Manus Cocotree and ETs, etc. So I think in a very short span of time, we were able to, be mentioned in the same bracket as some of the big cafes in Cochin. So I think it's mainly because of some of these factors, mainly being the quality of food and drink served.